This is Matthew Nelson at O.Henry Middle School. We have several future astronauts and scientists that have some questions to ask you guys today. First up is Levon Midwood.
My name is Levon and my question is for Dan. How long does it take to get in your spacesuit?
Well, that depends on the spacesuit you're talking about. If you're talking about the ones that we typically wear when we launch and enter on a Soyuz capsule, which are very similar to the ones we wore on the space shuttle, it probably takes about 20 or 30 minutes to actually put it on. And then we spend some time actually checking it out to make sure that it's leak tight and the communications system in the suit works. If you're talking about the spacesuit that we use to go outside when we're doing a spacewalk on space station, that one's a little bit more complicated, and it'll take over an hour to get that one completely donned and checked out and ready to go.
My name is Ireland, and my question is for Dawn. How much room do you have to move around in the space station?
We have a lot of volume up here on space station. It's equivalent to living in a big house, and it's divided, instead of being divided into rooms, it's divided into modules, and we can float all around or fly between the modules.
My name is Jack, and my question is for Andre. How do you go to the bathroom in space?
This is a very essential question, a very good question actually, and a lot of people think about that. Well, we don't have weight, so we have to simulate, or we have to replace that, and we do that with airflow. So we have to put on some kind of vacuum cleaner in order to get everything in the right place, and of course you have to hold yourself as well to stay in the right position. So it's a little endeavor to go to the restroom in space, but it works all fine.
Thank you.
My name is Amity, and my question is for Dan. What process do you go through, and what certifications do you need to be qualified as an astronaut?
Okay, probably the first and most important thing you have to do is you have to apply for it. You actually have to send an application to NASA to compete with lots and lots of other people that want to do this. At the very beginning of the space program, almost everybody that flew were test pilots, military test pilots. Nowadays, they represent actually a minority of all the people that actually fly. So we've got scientists, engineers, we've got physicians like Andre here. We've got pilots still, of course. We even have teachers. So there are many, many different people. I think the thing that we all have in common, all of us have completed college, and sometimes a couple of colleges, or certainly more years than the initial bachelor's degree would be. But everybody that gets picked to be an astronaut typically did very well at the things that they did before. So they were, whether they were pilots or engineers, they were very good at that. And the key to being good at those things is to choose wisely, to find something that you love to do, so that working hard at it, becoming good at it, is not like work. It's more like play.
Thank you.
My name is Nick, and my question is for Dawn. What is your favorite activity to do in space?
My favorite activity to do in space is to do science experiments or engineering experiments. And we have all kinds of these that we can do on space station. Engineering experiments might be working on a new kind of toilet. And we have one up here that we call regenerative life support, that can take the urine that we generate and turn it back and pump it back into, purify it, and then pump it back into our galley, and we use it for making our coffee. And then we have all kinds of scientific experiments, ranging from experiments that we do on ourselves to physical science experiments like combustion and crystal growth.
Thank you.
My name is Evan, and my question is for Andre. What does it feel like to be in zero gravity, and what kinds of things do you have to do to adjust to the change in gravity?
Yeah, microgravity, weightlessness is a fantastic feeling, and it's a bit like being underwater. You can imagine if you're in a pool and you're floating underwater, you don't touch anything, so it's a bit comparable with that if you want to experience it a bit. Of course you have to adjust to that, because underwater you can swim. Well, that's something you don't want to do in the space station, because you might kick off all kind of sensitive equipment off the walls. So you have to learn how to move around when you're weightless, and of course that takes some time. So it's a fantastic feeling, but you have to learn how to do it properly.
Thank you.
My name is Avery, and my question is for Dan. When you look out of the International Space Station, what do you see?
Okay, well, the first thing you see in the foreground is the International Space Station itself, which is huge. It's big, it's beautiful, it's nearly 1 million pounds, and you see that all around you when you look out the cupola, for example. The other things that you see the sun, you see the moon, planets, you see stars, thousands and thousands of stars, like more stars than you would see on the darkest night when you're way, way out in the country. And the stars here don't twinkle. They're just steady, piercing points of light. And but the thing that's most notable is you see our planet Earth from space, and it is spectacular. Whether you're looking at the solid part of Earth, the continents, mountains, islands, the liquid, the oceans and so forth, or seeing evidence of the gas, and that is the clouds and the Earth's atmosphere at sunrise and sunset, or the interaction of charged particles from the sun as they create spectacular auroras. Those are things you never get tired of, and it is one of the neatest things about being in space.
Thank you.
My name is Ian. My question is for Don. What kind of data are you collecting while you're up there, and where do you get the experiments and samples from?
Okay, data can come in all forms. It can come from just picking up your pencil and writing something in your kneeboard, which I have right here, or it can come from data that is collected on a computer, and this again can be data that you type in on a keyboard. A lot of the data that we collect comes in to a computer through the either serial ports or now USB ports, or even through Ethernet ports, and these ports are hooked up to the experiments themselves, and the data gets collected from the experiment and goes into the computer, and from there we use our radio system to relay the data back to Earth. And then we also have digital imagery that we can take, which is also another form of data, and again that gets placed on our computers and gets relayed back to Earth using our radio system.
My name is Matthew, and my question is for Andre. What are some of the biggest challenges you have faced while in space?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is not to lose items, because we're really working here in a three-dimensional environment. We use everything, the ceiling, the walls, the floors, behind the panels, so there's a lot of places where you can put something and you don't know where it is anymore, and if something is not attached with Velcro or with a bungee or with tape, and it floats off, it can go everywhere. Normally things fall down, you know more or less where it should be, but in space you would just lose things very easily. So this is one of the things that you really pay attention to in the beginning, and actually during the whole mission, always stick it to something, because otherwise it's gone. That is one of the biggest challenges.
Hi, my name is Sam, and my question is for Dan. When do you think it'll be possible to go to Mars, and what do you think the future holds for NASA?
I think for people like us that fly in space and have dreamed about it all our lives, we almost could not go to Mars soon enough for us. the fact is it's an awful, awful long ways away. And in order to be sure that we keep people safe, we have a lot more work to do to be able to do that. So it'll be decades, but it'll be, by the time that you grow up, by the time that you kids are certainly our age, I believe that we will have been there, and we'll be there on a hopefully semi-permanent basis. And I hope we'll also be on the moon and on asteroids. Outer space is an incredibly expansive, wonderful place, and I think it's humanity's destination, or destiny, to do that kind of exploration. And we need a lot of smart and energetic folks like you to help pave the way and provide the rocket fuel for that kind of exploration.
Thank you.
My name is Joe, and my question is for Don. Can you send a text message in space, and if so, is your cell phone service any
good? We don't have cell phones or iPhones or any phones like that in space. We do have this comm system, which I'm talking to you through right now. Works off of S-band, that's a particular wavelength range of radio communication, and KU band, which is in the microwave region. And these things go through the TDRS satellite system and then back to Earth. And so we can talk through those. We can also do emails and send other text-type messages through the comm system that's designed in the space station.
My name is Olivia, and my question is for Andre. What did you eat last night?
Oh, that's a good question. Even on Earth, I don't remember probably what I ate last night. Well, actually, what I ate, I know. There was mixed vegetables, sweet potatoes. That's one of my favorites. And I think I had some beef and mushrooms, but I'm not sure about that course anymore. So you here, there's a lot of different choices. We can choose from a lot of different foods, both on the US side and on the Russian side. And we even have our bonus food. In my case, it means that I also have some Dutch products on board. So we have a lot of choice.
How do you get water, electricity, and oxygen up to space station?
Okay, that's really important. The water and the oxygen, at least initially, we bring it up via cargo vehicles. And when the shuttle was coming to space station, the shuttle would ship a lot of water that it generated as a byproduct of making electricity, and it would give it to space station. We preserve as much of the water as possible up here. So like Don was describing to you before, we try our best to close most of the water cycle or the environmental control loop. So we preserve it because it's very expensive and difficult to get any kind of cargo, be it food or water or science experiments up to space station. The electricity is a little bit easier, as it turns out, and we've got almost an acre worth of solar arrays. And those solar panels we keep pointed at the sun, and we basically use those in the electrical system here to convert photons into electrons.
Thank you.
My name is Jamal, and my question is for Don. How do you avoid hitting things in space when you are on the space station?
Well, there's two levels to that question. One is when we're flying around inside a space station, you have to avoid hitting things, because if you do hit something, it's probably with your head. And so you just need to watch out. It's just like on Earth, you can trip and fall down and skin your knee. Well, here on space station, you basically don't watch what you're doing and you bang your head on something. And what I think you probably really are referring to is, does space station run into other things in orbit? And one thing, it's big, space is big, and the probability of running into something is really, really small. However, on occasion, our orbit could get close to a piece of space debris, and in that case, we either change the orbit of space station, or we go into our Soyuz capsules and get ready for an emergency deorbit if we were to strike something. And we did that a couple weekends ago.